Okay, hello, MomoCon. My name's Purple Tissue Box. I'm here with my amazing co-commentator, Jake the Snake. I'm sure you just saw us. Today, we will be bringing you a game that maybe you have not played, even if you're a fan of the series. It's the original Shantae on the Game Boy Color. And there's a bit of a sad story. This game came out in 2002, which is after the Game Boy Advance. It's after the GameCube, so unfortunately it really was like dead on arrival. It did not sell well. They only made about 10,000 copies.
It's very hard to get one nowadays.
Right, I was very fortunate that I have one. And I know we have a lot of fans of the series because they just cheered. We have a lot of fans of the characters. But yeah, you might not have seen this one. So it's a really interesting speed run. There'll be glitches, there'll be routing, there'll be tons of fun stuff. So you guys have heard me and Jake for too long, so I'll just get
hear
into
us for
it.
quite a while longer.
Yeah, exactly. So we might as well keep it as short as possible. So time starts when I pick my file in 3, 2, 1, go. So in a lot of ways, this game is kind of similar to Pirate's Curse. We have the same character, same world, but at a lower resolution.
Quite a bit of a lower resolution. Shantae's going to look a bit different, but for how old this game is, for being on Game Boy Color, it is extremely, extremely detailed. I love the detail in this.
Right, the animations are really good, even back with a 1980s processor.
Yes. As Purple's running through this bridge right here, he might get hit by cannonballs a couple times. It seems like hasn't got hit at all.
Oh.
There we go. Every cannonball hit right there loses half a second, but that's not really too big of a deal at this point because we're actually going to be dying on purpose later.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the health loss. Kind of in general, throughout this run, you will see that managing how much health you have is a really, really big deal, and that really goes everywhere. In terms of the plot, same thing. We're in our lighthouse. Cannonball comes through the roof, so we got to go defend Scuttletown again.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. in Pirate's Curse, you're actually friends with Risky Boots, but in every other Shantae game, she's your enemy. So that's how this is gonna go.
So it's the same kind of style where we're kind of in like a Metroidvania kind of world. There's dungeons. You get items in the dungeons.
Yep.
We're not playing the New Game Plus like in Pirate's Curse, so unfortunately I'm going to have to go get everything myself.
Yeah, so there ain't going to be too much going on for this first part. But I guess while we're at it, we'll explain how the world sort of is laid out, right?
Go for it.
So the world is sort of laid out in, I guess, a big line. So there's 4 dungeons that Purple's going to be going throughout the speedrun. One starts on the east side towards the start. Then the next dungeon is on the west side at the start. And then the third dungeon is all the way to the east.
Very far away.
Very far right. And then the last dungeon is all the way back to the west. So it's a lot of backtracking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But what you're going to see throughout the speedrun is actually we're going to skip basically all of that backtracking as we go through it.
So I'm really standing on the shoulders of giants here. The guys who helped do the route for this game put a lot of thought into exactly all the different moves you have to make in order to go through this world without having to go back and forth through the center over and over and over again.
Yeah, and whenever we get to explaining how we're going to do that, I'll explain more.
Yeah.
Once we get there.
So here we are at Mimic's house. Mimic is again at a lower resolution than you might be used to seeing him. But you just saw the Tinkerbats get away with his latest and greatest invention, which is the steam engine. So
the great technology.
The future is here.
The future is here. It's now. We finally have steam. Finally.
So we got to get it back. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So the game is going to start off we just need to recover Mimic's steam engine. But it turns out we're actually are gonna save the whole world on accident
Yep.
while we're waiting for that.
Oh, no frame perfect jump,
No,
unfortunately.
I don't even think it saves time.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't save any time.
It just looks cool.
But now, I believe coming up, we have our first boss, correct?
Right. Boss in quotation marks.
Boss in quotation marks, yeah. So we're going to hop on this pirate ship right here. This is Risky's pirate ship. This boss may look a little intimidating. She's got a massive cannon, of course. It looks scary, but in fact, this boss is not really that scary
it's
at all.
a bit of an auto-scroller.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as an auto-scroller as you'll see in about an hour when
Yeah.
on, but so that little purple door underneath, it's going to have a powder keg in it. You just have to smack the powder keg when it opens.
And that cannon, it'll always shoot over us, no matter what. It can never hit us.
All right, so I can just hang out here.
Just a little bit of a waiting game. But I guess while this is happening, we can sort of explain what's going to happen.
So
next.
unfortunately, I got unlucky with the cannonballs at the start. I took a hit there, and then I made a slight mistake. I took another hit there. So we have a kind of a problem where I'm missing some health, and there's a really long room with RNG enemies, and I'd really like to have as much health as possible.
Yeah. So right here, we have to hit this boss 12 times, and on the 12th hit, Purple's actually going to die.
Go for a little swim.
Go for a little swim. This is going to basically mitigate all that cannonball RNG that we saw earlier.
Oh, not if I miss them. Yeah, that hit I just took, that was RNG too, guys.
And there we go. So now Purple's going to die. It's going to basically not skip this cutscene, but it's
right.
going to...
The cutscene was playing, so basically...
You don't lose any time for dying.
Right. We need to get a game over later. Spoilers.
Yeah.
And in order to get the game over, that means we have to die 4 times.
Yeah.
And so that is just a nice way where I can... Any place I can take a death without losing time that's a good death. I'm going to want to take that.
There's also a lot of dialogue in this game.
Right.
And funny enough, in every single Shantae game that is on the stage, skipping dialogue is done a completely different way. Do you want to talk a little bit about
Right. So I have to hold the B button, and then as soon as the dialogue ends, you let go and re-grab it. So unfortunately, that means I need to know what they're about to say, so I know when they're about to stop saying it. And it's like a speech jammer, I swear. See, look at how long I'm hanging out at the end of the text box because I'm talking.
Yeah, fortunately, you can't really skip the text boxes in this area.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sit through all of them. We got some long cutscenes. This was before the day of skippable cutscenes, back in days of old.
Yeah. If you don't know how the steam engine works,
That's how a steam engine works.
Yeah, you boil some water.
Boil some water, build some pressure, pushes a gear.
All right, so we're about to get into like the actual game proper in just a second here. So you'll see a brief little town scene, kind of like Jake was saying earlier. You'll see a couple of those towns. The goal is we run through the overworld, and then somewhere in the overworld we find a town like this, and inside the town is going to be one of Shantae's friends, and they're going to open the dungeon for us.
Yep.
So our first town is Watertown Eastward. But unfortunately, we have to make it through this screen where we have those little gopher guys that throw spears at you. Completely RNG where they pop up. They can pop up right under your feet, and you just get skewered instantly.
Little goblins.
And then we have some scarecrows here, also RNG. So this is kind of why I really like taking that death earlier, because it gets me back to full health. So I've gotten pretty lucky here, which is nice.
Doesn't look like we're taking any hits
I
at
know.
all. Oh, there's one. Sorry, I jinxed it.
Words.
Famous last words, indeed. But that's okay. Again, taking damage isn't really too big of a deal.
Right.
'cause
So
we can lower
it's
our
almost
lives.
like I have 3 different routes for the game based on how much health I have after I get through that screen. So we got really lucky there. I only got hit once.
Is it ideal to have this amount of health at this point?
Yes. So you want to have enough health that you can get through the first dungeon and not a half a heart more.
Okay, yeah, so it looks like we're going to make it through there very handily, but there's another little funny thing about the overworld, right? Or is that yet, or is it coming up?
That will come on the way back. Coming up is a screen with a waterfall on it, and I like to make a comparison to Mario. So if you've ever played Mario 64, you know, he has a sense of weight and momentum behind him. You know, he kind of skids to a stop, and he takes a while to accelerate, especially in the air. Shantae's not like that. She can jump. She can turn around instantly. You have full control over your jump height. There's no acceleration whatsoever. So you can have some really, really snappy movements. And that's really difficult when you're going through a vertical section like this waterfall scene.
Yeah. Something about the Game Boy Color is that this screen is small, right? And with all the detail put into Shantae's sprite, Shantae is massive.
She's huge.
She's huge compared to the size of the screen. So there's a lot of like blind jumps that you have to make. And doing that fast can be very, very difficult. You have to memorize where all of the platforms are. So while this platforming doesn't look super precarious, it's actually really, really precarious and really scary.
Okay, so we made it across. We're going to, right here will be Watertown.
Yes.
Where we will meet up with Bolo, and he will open the dungeon for us. But before we do that, I'm going to take a quick trip to the save room.
Yep.
I'm not going to save the game. It's not for safety.
You're not?
I'm just going to poke my head in.
Okay. Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Just taking a quick peek through. We'll explain why he did that coming up later.
That is a secret that will help us later.
Yes.
So here's Bolo. Unfortunately, Bolo is a bit distracted by beautiful women, so he has actually let Risky Boots in the dungeon already ahead of us. So obviously we gotta go stop her. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you imbecile! Knock it off, man.
Yeah, this is the one Shantae speedrun where you can actually sort of see the dialogue. I do recommend taking a look at it because it is quite goofy.
So, unfortunately, the dungeon, if you were reading, it's back on the other side of the waterfall. So we got to do that again.
Gotta make our way back to the left.
We keep talking about we don't like backtracking. We don't like backtracking.
This is like the one little bit of backtracking.
Right. Imagine going through this waterfall. 5 times, 6 times. So I don't make it look hard, but I have died on this waterfall so many times when I'm playing this game for the first time. And actually coming up pretty soon, Jake.
Yep, coming up right here, basically. We've got a night cycle. So this is the only Shantae game in the entire series that has a day-night cycle. And while that may not seem super important right now,
the music gets better.
Music gets dark, enemies get a little bit tougher, but this day-night cycle is very, very important for the first half of the run, as there is an area in the game that only appears at night.
Right.
At night. So.
So I've been on the clock since I started the game.
Exactly. And funny thing, as we get to our first dungeon right here, this is also the only dungeon in the entire game where the day-night cycle persists.
Right.
As you're going through the dungeon.
And it's the hardest one.
And it's the hardest one.
If you make mistakes in the hardest dungeon, your day-night cycle is ticking. And if it's daytime by the time you get to that third town, well, you're sitting outside the gate waiting for a long time. It's like 2.5 minutes.
It is a long day-night cycle. Now we've got Risky here. She got into the dungeon a little bit early. She's going to block off this path.
She's going to take the shortcut. We got to go the long way. The very, very long way.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I like to compare this game, like the structure at least, to Zelda. So you have your overworld and then you have your dungeons. And so you can see the dungeon, the rooms are much smaller. It's much more segmented. It's almost like easier to think about because you're like, all I have to think about is how to get to the next door. And one cool little thing is that inside the dungeons they have these warp squids that are hidden around, and they let you teleport to a town. So in a game where we want to avoid backtracking,
we're gonna want to get some warp squids, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna get this warp squid right here. They put one of them right in your way, so that you know they exist, and all the other ones way out of the way. They're hidden.
Yeah.
So that's the only one we're getting.
Yeah. So normally we need what, 4 warp squids per town.
Right, per town that you want to go to.
So 16 warp squids total to get around the entire map to avoid all that backtracking. But we've only got one. We'll explain why we're only getting one later when that comes up.
This is where I really wish the screen was a little taller.
Yeah,
so snail, fish. Remember that, guys.
So we've got a little bit of
what
a wheel puzzle right there. Snail, fish.
Thank you.
There we go. So we got a little bit of a wheel puzzle that we have to hit. That pattern changes random every single time you play the game. And there's quite a few of those in this dungeon, so you're going to be seeing a lot of that.
Now, luckily, the random symbol that they choose is not allowed to be the symbol that's on the wheel. So you're always guaranteed going to have to hit the wheel at least once. You might have to hit some of them twice. So I had to sit 2 of those ones twice.
Yeah, so the pattern on the wheel, again, is completely random, but the layout of the wheel is the same every single time.
Right.
So if you know where the snail is, and you can hit it one direction and get like the
fish.
The fish, right? So.
And you hit it the other way, you get the octopus.
Yeah, so you can already see Purple's got it completely memorized. You can see how much he's played this game.
Well, there's only 3 of them, man.
Are there only 3?
Yep.
In Pirate's Curse, there's like way more.
Well, you should have done the real puzzle in Pirate's Curse then. Snail, fish, octopus. So doing this fast is kind of a challenge. I need to hit these 2 again.
There we go. Nicely done.
Thank you. So we're going through this dungeon, and really what we're trying to do is get like your Zelda dungeon item halfway through. But in this game, similar to Pirate's Curse, all of the items are consumable. So you don't really get an item halfway through the dungeon. You actually get a dance that lets Shantae turn into an animal.
Yeah. So the main shtick of Shantae is that she can transform into different animals
Right.
to give her different abilities. In Pirate's Curse, there's none of that. Shantae actually lost her magic in Pirate's Curse, which is why there's no transformation.
Oh man.
But in the next 2 games that we've got coming up, oh, why'd you break the puzzle, man?
Sorry, I was just trying to hit it.
We're supposed to be going fast, man. Come on.
I'll just fix it. It'll just take a few minutes.
Okay. We're gonna go a bit out of our way to fix that puzzle right there. This wetman right here, you can just keep smacking him in the face, and he'll eventually die.
Sometimes he blocks it, but as long as your first hit goes through, you can just beat him into the corner. Any fighting game players here will know you do not want to be in the corner.
No.
All right, fish, snail, octopus.
We're gonna steal this little stone from this other puzzle right here. We don't really care about this puzzle. We're just gonna kind of snag it. And actually, you can see that purple is sort of trying to surf on top of the stone. Helps him go just a tiny bit faster.
I don't like that guy. He lags my game, so I kill him every time. Unfortunately, the Game Boy Color was not known for its processing power. So you will see a little bit of lag in this game.
If you do run this game on emulator, though,
right,
then it actually doesn't lag right there.
Oh, God. I hate hitting the middle one, man.
There we go.
And you might have noticed I'm looking a little low on health, so it's time to take my next death. I try to take them in places that save me time, so if dying here will actually take me back to the top of the room.
Yep. And on top of that, we're 1 more life towards
Right.
our game over.
And that means beating this game is kind of scary because you're running around 1 hit away from a game over.
A lot of the time, yeah. If you thought Empress Spider was precarious with taking damage on purpose, the entire, basically, first half of this game, you're going to be on super low health.
Right. So here we are. We freed the genie of the dungeon. She's going to teach us the dance. And unlike some of the other games, you actually have to do the dance yourself.
Yep. So we got a little bit of a rhythm game here. Takes about 7 seconds to transform into anything in this game.
So the animation of me transforming, I mean, just look how long it is, right? I still can't even move till after that fades back in. So we want to minimize the number of transformations that we have to do. And so now that we can turn into the monkey, Shantae can climb walls, and she jumps pretty high. But it comes at a price. You can't attack when you are in animal form. So we will have to be... Ooh, if I could get up there. We will be swapping back and forth a little bit.
A little extra damage for later.
Yeah. That's an optimization I just came up with yesterday. I'm not even joking.
Oh, wait, really?
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was
That
an
is
accident.
brand new.
You're not pulling my leg, are you?
I'm not.
Okay. Man pulled up an optimization in his sleep. Got some more wetmen right here.
Right.
We got to untransform, of course. We're going to try to get them into the same spot right here. They're going to do a little bit of a charge and end up in the
Right.
back.
And like we were saying earlier, you do not want to be in the corner.
No, they do not have quite a good
All right,
time.
we'll get some lag here because, you know, we're on the Game Boy.
Ugh. Ooh. That is a lot of lag.
I know. So unlike Pirate's Curse, all the bosses in this game are pretty easy, which is a nice relief.
Yeah.
Because you get kind of a breather at the end. This is actually the hardest boss, and I have a bit of an audio cue, so give me just 1 second to smack him around a little bit.
Literally.
Yeah, okay, if I could hit him. Nope. It's tough to keep him against the wall. If I could do it at all. Oh my god, am I gonna die? Uh-oh. I gotta climb the wall here. Oh my god, I am gonna die. Well, you know what?
Not
This is
quite.
bad. I'm about to drown if I don't get on this wall like right now.
I haven't
You know how
seen this
long?
phase of the boss
Yeah, you know why?
fight
'Cause
before.
I haven't seen it either.
So yeah, I think we got 1 more hit here and then we're done.
Yeah. Awesome.
There we go,
love,
nice.
We love messing up right at the end. Okay, so I don't have a lot of health here. This one was not on purpose. That was not the optimization I thought about last night.
So how much health do you normally have at this point?
3 hearts.
3 hearts. Okay, well, yeah, I think we can get through with half a heart, right? You're used to playing this game a lot.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we do have to do a little bit of backtracking. We don't kind of have our arsenal of tools yet. So we're going to have to walk through that RNG enemy section, and I'm on half a heart, so I don't really like that. So there is a 1-up I can grab, so hope is not lost.
Yeah, that 1-up's in the next dungeon?
Right.
Right? Yeah, so...
So I might just run into the first spider I see on this next screen.
He just has to not Well, yeah, that works too. I was gonna say.
You know what? We'll push our luck. We'll see how the RNG goes. And that would really suck if I took all that damage in the dungeon where the day-night cycle is ticking, huh?
Yeah. Oh, now we're back to daytime.
Right. So this is fine. As long as it doesn't turn daytime on that last screen where we're on, I'm looking good on as far as time goes. So the next thing we're gonna head over to the desert and talk to Sky, but the desert is quite a ways away.
Yeah, so we just, like I said, a lot of backtracking for this first part, but this should be like.
This is the only backtracking you'll see, hopefully.
Hopefully.
If I don't keep messing up.
If everything goes well. I guess another thing to talk about is the transformations. So as Purple's going through this game, you can see the transformation animation. Ooh, yeah, you kind of want to avoid those guys. The transformation animation takes quite a while.
You kind of want to avoid that guy too. Oh well, you know, I thought I'd see how far we'd get. Not very far.
You got to the next room, which is pretty good. But yeah, the transformation animation takes about 7 seconds. So we want to try to minimize our transformations as much as possible.
Yeah, so I need to be in monkey form, 3 screens from now. But I'm going to go ahead and do it now because Shantae's much shorter. So I was hoping it would help me get underneath the spears, and it did. But unfortunately, I landed on a scarecrow instead.
The scarecrow was not too kind
Ouch.
right there. But now we don't really care too much about our health anymore as long as we don't die.
Like that.
Like that. Never mind.
Like that. Yo, this is not good, Jake.
No, it's not looking too hot. But you know what? I think. How are we going to recover from this, Purple?
I really don't know.
We'll find a way. Might have to do a little bit of sacrifice.
Right.
A little bit of improvising.
Yeah,
So he's normally supposed to have.
Real bad.
He's normally supposed to have 2 lives at this point. Now he has 0.
I am. I have 0, and I
He
need
has 0.
one.
You need
I need one in the town.
You need one in the town.
Hmm.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. You do. Oh.
I do need one in the town.
Oh. Yeah. Is there any extra secret 1-ups that we can grab?
I don't think so. All right, this is routing on the fly.
We'll figure it out.
I guess I'll just go back to the town after the dungeon. So, like we were talking, the Game Boy screen is very small. Jesus Christ, there's some spikes over there. Come on. So, I couldn't see that pit. Oh, no. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Look. Who's scared? Who's scared right now? This is lock-in music right here. All right, for all of you in the audience, all of you watching at home, you should be scared right now. Chance I land on a cactus here and just die instantly.
Yeah, this desert area is very, very scary to go through with the amount of health that he has.
Right.
You would normally be taking a couple of
I would.
damage boosts through these guys, but unfortunately we don't have that luxury now.
I don't have any damage to boost with.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I made it. So I'm gonna take a little bath in here.
That works.
We're gonna have to get the dance later.
The bathhouse lets us heal.
Right.
To full, right?
Yeah, you'd know that if we healed in the other Shantae games. Oh no. So we're gonna stop by the shop real fast. It's similar to Pirate's Curse where the items are consumable, like I was saying, and we're gonna buy
some candies,
candy,
and some storm clouds, right?
And some storm clouds, right?
We would normally use those storm clouds coming up for a glitch, but again, we don't really have.
Yeah, I don't have the health to spare.
So we'll come back after the dungeon. It's
will.
gonna lose a little bit of time, but that's perfectly okay. We're gonna talk to Sky right here.
Yep.
She's gonna loan us her bird wrench, which is a combination of a wren and a finch.
I thought so. Apparently that's not true. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. I've only played this game, guys. I don't know any of the lore.
Fun little trivia about Purple. He hasn't played any new game that was made past the year 2006.
Well, it's really looking like I haven't played this one either with how it's going.
That's okay. It's okay. It's just the marathon nerves. You got this, man.
Yeah. you like me to send Wrench to scout for you? Yes, I would. So Wrench is going to help us get into the next dungeon.
And we're going to see why he's called Wrench.
Right.
Shortly.
Why he's actually called Wrench. So I'm going to get out of here. So this is where I'm supposed to be on 0 lives.
Yeah. Well,
So-
no, you're not supposed to be on 0 lives yet. You're supposed to be on 1 life.
Right. Well, when I'm leaving, I'm supposed to die. You know what? This is just a mess, guys. Okay. Going back to the desert. We're going to get to gold mine. We're not going to die ever again. All right? Mark my words.
Well, no, we will die.
We're not going to die on accident ever again.
We will be dying on purpose later, but for
Right,
now,
this is the only Shantae game where you do die on purpose, and you can see how scary it is.
yeah, especially when you take deaths that aren't on purpose.
Right. So,
Before you take the deaths that are on purpose. We could probably handle it fine if he didn't lose that second life, but
right.
because he lost that second life.
Because I couldn't see.
Couldn't see. Again, this just goes to show how difficult
They
this
made
game
Shantae
is.
too big, man. Yes, this is a... I'm going to say this game's quite difficult casually.
Difficult casually, and it's also a really
Right,
difficult
it's-
speedrun.
My first several runs, like I couldn't even finish them because of how demanding the movement is, how demanding the time limit is. That's gonna mess up my day cycle real bad, huh?
It'll all work out in the end.
It'll work out. Yeah.
It'll work out. We might
Actually,
just have to wait 2.5 minutes.
No, it will work out. We will not wait 2.5 minutes.
You think so?
I'll save and quit.
What does the saving and quitting do again? I know you told me earlier, but I forgot.
Right. So, in the event that I make it to the town early, I can just simply save and quit the game, and that'll actually clear out the memory of the Game Boy. And that way, it will put us right back to the start of daytime. And conveniently, from the start of daytime, it takes about 2.5 minutes to make it to the zombie caravan. So that'll put us perfect exactly where we need to be.
So now I got Wrench right here. He's going to basically turn into a wrench and turn the
literal.
dials on this dungeon. And that's actually going to open the door for us.
Very nice. Thank you, Wrench. And this is our only input break in the whole run. So
Yep.
I'm a huge fan of Wrench. All right, get in there. So I'm actually looking good on health, surprisingly.
Yep. So, actually, when do you get your one up here? You get it a little bit later, don't you?
It's on the bottom floor. So this dungeon is less linear than the last one. It's set up kind of like a big...
it's a big elevator shaft.
So it's your water temple. So all of these rooms split off onto the side, and you get keys on the side. And because it's kind of like a maze, they made it so that there's a bunch of locked doors where the only purpose they serve is to get you a key to go unlock more locked doors. So we can just skip those rooms because there's no need to go in them. And I'm going to grab that one up. I might grab that one up again. Oh, get down there, please.
So, as you can see, Shantae is turning like red and blue right over here. So the main gimmick of this dungeon is magnetism. So running into one of those blue or red fields that you saw earlier actually changes Shantae's magnetic polarity.
Polarization, right. So the treasure chest, you need to be able to attract them to be able to open them. And then vice versa, you need to be able to repel the enemies. Well, that's normally what you do, but I have a death coming up pretty soon, so I'm just going to run through them all.
Yeah, so we don't really care too much about these enemies. They're going to hurt us a lot. We're going to end up with about a heart, and we're going to be at half a heart pretty shortly.
Yes. Maybe even now if that guy hits me. Nope, we're good. So we have a little puzzle here where you got to open the doors by being the right color. I've played this game before, believe it or not, so I do know the answer ahead of time.
Now we're at half a heart, but now we're coming up on our next transformation, right?
Right, and so this is actually where our items are going to come into play. So like you saw earlier, we bought the storm clouds.
Yep.
Which I'm actually going to equip right now.
So with these storm clouds, we're going to get this key first.
Right.
But what's going to happen?
It's like a bomb.
Yeah.
In Zelda.
So it's a portable damage source. So he's actually going to use the cloud to die, which is going to basically skip the cutscene of talking to the
Right.
genie.
There's no enemies in the next room. You saw how long it took to learn that dance where you turn into the monkey, so we don't want to watch that again. We don't want to watch that 3 more times. So I'm going to throw the storm cloud. It's going to float over there. And at the last second, I'm going to talk to her when the storm cloud zaps lightning and I'm going to die. And then the other thing is the candy. Candy's pretty self-explanatory. It just lets you exit the dungeon.
Yep.
So I'm exiting the dungeon.
Another neat quirk about the candy for this dungeon in particular is that it actually removes your polarization. So now we're not red or blue. We're just normal Shantae.
And that's really convenient just because of the way they programmed it. It's a nice coincidence. Actually, I need to take some damage here. When you don't have a color, you attract the treasure chests and you repel the enemies, which is exactly what
Best
we
of
want.
both worlds.
So we can turn on the elephant now. The elephant moves really, really slow, so we do not want to stay in elephant form for very long, but you can see it lets me smash through those walls.
Yep. Now we've got this little magnet mini boss right here, which if we were polarized, this would make this
Right,
boss
he would
a
be
little
like
bit harder.
pulling us in. He jumps around. He's real annoying. Everyone hates this guy. You can get him stun locked if you're good, but as we can see from the momentum, I am not good.
He's a little bit tricky, but that's
Would you
okay.
believe I have the world record in this game? All right, but luckily he jumps around for so long before he tries to grab you that we're still doing good.
Yep. If he did grab you, he would change your polarity to red. I
And
believe.
that's really bad because then you can't get the treasure chest in that same room. So we clipped through this elevator early. I didn't even mention it, but now we're
yeah.
actually going to use it so I can slide down here while in elephant form. And we are going to actually stay in elephant form just because I'm going to need it in 2 seconds. That whole 7-second thing when you transform is real bad. So that golem enemy, he drops a key. Elephant one-shots him. So
Yep.
we'll keep that. And then you're intended to come to this room earlier, so you were supposed to spend a key to get in here in
To get
order to
another
get
key.
2 more keys to get to the elephant. But they forgot that you could just get the elephant and then enter through the top. So I'm going to like smuggle a key out of this room. And then this is where I would normally go to the end, but I am going to take a little detour. I'm going to get my 1-up back because I don't want to get my game over.
Yeah, having another life here will actually help with actually doing our next glitch,
Yes.
which we meant
Which
to
I was
do it
supposed
earlier.
to do a while ago. Let me
But
grab this.
there we go. Nice little convenient 1-up pot.
So thank you to the warp candy for letting me grab that twice.
I didn't even think about that. The warp candy would make it respawn.
Respawn, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a world record routing right there.
But now we're actually going to head to
Need an elephant.
our boss right up here.
Uh-huh.
First, we got to transform an elephant, smack this elephant statue, and it's going to drop some stalagmites. That'll let us platform over there.
You know, I'm just now realizing I don't need to die at the end of this. I need to die later.
Yeah, exactly. Please
This whole
don't,
game is just die. You just die over and over again.
please don't die after exiting this dungeon. That'll make the routing even more crazy than it already is on the fly. So.
Yeah.
We gotta get one more transformation of elephant right here to break through these stones, and then I believe the boss is right after here.
Yeah. So, most bosses, you know, you hit them, they have some iframes. This one doesn't.
Now this boss has 0 iframes. So what you're gonna see happen is Pink's gonna hit him once to expose his weak spot, and then I guess I kind of want to let the game
speak
explain
for
itself.
yourself, yeah.
It's gonna speak for itself. You're gonna see exactly what we mean by this boss has no iframes. Because you can actually attack very, very fast as elephant when you're up against the wall. There's no end lag.
There's no delay whatsoever. Turn to the elephant. You know, it's your classic like head and hands boss. You hit the hands, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to go straight for the head.
And now he's just gonna mash attack on this boss with his weak spot exposed. And there he goes. He's dead.
We're going to pause the game on accident. That's... Yeah, thankfully the bosses are a nice break from how grueling the overworld is with the pits that you can't see and the enemies that have too much health and the tiny screen.
Yeah. So normally, or I guess in other Shantae games, the bosses are quite a bit of a threat. In this game, not so much.
Not so much.
They are quite a bit of a stress reliever, which is
Right.
kind of nice actually
Right.
from it being such a stressful run.
You know what? I'm going to take a little trip back inside. I need some health.
Oh, you know, that's
Give me
fair.
that.
So normally after beating this dungeon, Purple would go ahead and die and get the game over here. But before we do that, we're actually going to make our way back to Oasis Town, do a little bit of backtracking, unfortunately. I know we said we weren't going to do any more. This is the last bit, I promise.
Maybe we shouldn't promise that. You know, I've never done this screen backwards in my life.
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, you are doing pretty good. You've only taken 1 hit so far.
2 hits. That guy wouldn't move.
2 hits.
Atlanta traffic, you know.
That guy looks like a bit of a jerk, just sort of standing up there. It looks
Yeah,
a little hard to dodge.
He shoots 5 sprites as like a projectile. And you know, 5 sprites, that's a lot of sprites for a 1980s console, so.
Yeah.
And I need to get back to Oasis Town. Again, I have never done this backwards, so. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Please don't hit me.
Is there any more health?
You know, we got through this desert on half a heart before. We can do it again.
We can do it again.
So, those of you on the couch, those of you in the audience, those of you watching at home, you should be scared right now.
Yeah. This is routing improv at its finest right here.
So, I'm sure you've noticed the enemies, when they are in hit stun, they can't hit you. Oh my god.
These jumps look incredibly tight.
Oh my god. Do not.
Oh!
Whew. We're out of there.
Oh, you're scaring me, man.
Who was scared?
I was.
Yeah, cut the camera before I stand up so they don't see how brown my jeans are right now.
All right.
Okay, we're here.
We're here. We made it. We made it. Okay, back on route. Back on route. Sort of.
Woo.
So,
I was scared for a minute.
a little bit of a glitch right here. We've got this warp squid mama right here.
Remember that one warp squid I picked up forever ago?
Yeah, so we're going to actually die while talking to her, and this is going to pop up a second text box. It's going to look a little weird, but now we have 2 text boxes open, so we can give 2 warp squids, which actually gives us -1 warp squids. And for those who know how programming works,
right,
that's called an underflow, which actually gives us 255 warp squids.
And then we can just put the rest in.
We just put the rest in.
So we just invented the steam engine. We just invented genetic cloning, too.
Exactly. And normally you need to put in all the warp squids to get the warp dance. But because we have 255, the game thinks that we have all of the warp squids. So we can go ahead and get the warp dance, which will allow us to warp back to
Crisis averted.
Down. Yes,
we can just hang out right here.
Yep, now we just got to die.
Okay, I lied. There's 2 input breaks in this run. The first one is wrench when you get in the dungeon. The second one is when you mess up so bad you got to run all the way back here.
But you know what? That's okay. So now we've gotten our game over, but we haven't saved. So where's the game going to put us?
To save.
Forgot to save.
I just put my head in there. I didn't save.
You gotta stop messing up, man.
No, it's a hard run. It's a hard.
It is a hard run, but you know what? That's okay.
You just hit continue. We're right back in.
The funny thing about this game, this game was way ahead of its time with auto saving. Just going into the save room. For some reason, the game remembers that you went to the save room.
Your save point when you
get a game over.
Right.
So it brings you all the way back to Watertown, which completely skips all that backtracking.
It's daytime. Look, everything's good.
I wouldn't really call it daytime. It's still like kind of raining.
Well, as far as the zombie caravan's concerned, it's daytime.
This is daytime. Okay, so we're good. It should turn nighttime before we get to zombie caravan.
Right. And even if it turns nighttime like real soon, I got plenty of time to get there. It only takes about 2.5 minutes to reach there, so we'll be doing fine on time.
So this is the point of the game where the day-night cycle really matters. Of course, because Purple messed up a lot, the day-night cycle doesn't really matter as much right now. But now you can see it's nighttime. The zombie caravan, which is our next area that we're going to, only appears at night. If you try to go there during the day, the screen is just not there at all. It's gone.
Right. And it's pretty confusing because you get that letter that's like, hey, you need to go to the zombie caravan. And you're walking around, it's not there. It doesn't tell you like, oh, hey, it's daytime, come back later.
It's just gone.
You just go to a different level.
Yeah. This is that music that you really like a lot.
Right. Both of the nighttime themes are pretty good in this game. So coming up, this is the screen I expected to die on way too many times because we have these really tiny platforms.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ.
Again, the screen is very, very small. So it's kind of hard to see where you're going.
Right.
It's a very difficult platforming.
To make matters worse, when Shantae is in monkey form, if I let go of left or right, whatever, she'll just keep going. She does not stop and fall straight down like she would as human. So I'm going to maybe stop talking here. I can hopefully get through this screen unscathed. This jump in particular, I think it's this one right here. Oh, it's real close. All right,
you made
out
it
the other side. Thank you.
Nicely done.
Okay, so we got this one last screen. The zombie caravan's on the other side.
Yeah. Again, Purple's been messing up a lot, but that's because this is a very, very difficult run.
It is.
So he's still doing fairly well for a marathon, all things considered.
So it's a hard game, a hard speed run. I had to practice so many times, and it got to the point where I got so much practice from failing runs that my first run that I finished was pretty good.
What was your first PB?
I think it was a 1:15, which is my estimate.
Let's see if we hit that PB.
I didn't think I would get a time that slow for a while. All right, so as long as it doesn't turn daytime in the next like 2 seconds, we're in the clear.
There we go.
My joke, you know. Think about how funny that would have been.
You were waiting for it. Normally he'd have to wait outside that bush.
Yes.
For a long time, but because of everything that's transpired, things are all good.
Yeah. So this game does not have the super pike ball. We have the fireball instead.
Or the F ball.
F
in this
ball.
case.
You only get 5 letters, you know? Do not
Yeah.
buy a float muffin. Buy me another candy, please. So,
And it's not just one fireball that you're getting. It's like a set of fireballs.
right.
How many are in a set?
You get 10.
You get 10. So that's quite a bit
We'll be
actually.
using all 10. So here's Roddy Tops. I said during your run that we don't like Roddy Tops so much in Pirate's Curse because of the speed run, because running
Yep.
Roddy Tops sucks.
Yeah.
We don't like Roddy Tops in this game either because Run Roddy Tops is back.
It's back. Well,
I guess, yes.
This is the first iteration of Run on Roddy Tops. We actually have to challenge Roddy Tops to a race right here. And the rubber banding on this race is intense.
It's bad.
If you make any mistakes around the halfway point, you can't catch up. You just automatically
You're done.
lose. And again, there's going to be quite a few obstacles on the way through, and they sort of pop out of nowhere because, again, GBC screen, it's very, very small. So they're just going to be coming up, and he has to react to them.
Yeah, you just got to know. You got to jump right there or you're done.
Yep.
Run straight into the wall. So it takes about a minute if you've messed it up. I wish I could say I have not messed it up before. I used to keep, like, counters on my desk, and I would put them up, down, up, down, up, down, whatever. So I didn't have to remember because I've messed this up a lot. The next one's a slide. By now I have it memorized, so.
It sort of looks like Purple has a bit of time to react, but in reality, it's really not that much time at all. Let's see if he gets it right here.
And you want to be optimal, so I'm trying to like land on them, but because I'm trying to land on them, sometimes you jump a little too short and you crack Shantae's skull open.
Woo! Made it through the race.
Okay.
First try. Congrats.
So now we can get into the next dungeon, which the dungeons get easier the later you go in the game. So I can take a little bit of a breather after that intro is stressful, man.
Yeah, I'd say the hard part of this run is the first half.
Yes, for sure.
Of course, it gets easier as you go through. We're not really too worried about our lives all that much anymore. Of course, we don't want to get a game over, but if we do, it's not like.
Don't say that, man.
I'm not meaning to jinx it. I'm really not.
So the next dungeon is where we get the spider transformation.
Oh yeah.
And if you thought the elephant was slow, the
spider
is so much worse.
Way slower. But that's okay. The spider will actually be used for a
Right.
fun little trick towards the end of the run.
So we're going back through this this really scary screen, but now we're human, and that means we have a little bit more control over where we're going,
Yes.
which is nice. So if I let go of the joystick, I just fall straight down, which is really convenient.
Pretty revolutionary for this game's time to have like controls like that, where you can sort of stop in midair and actually stop. There was a lot of drifting in air with other types of games, but now Roddy Tops is gonna kick open this dungeon, or so we thought. Nope. She's actually just gonna.
There's the skeleton key.
The skeleton key. Oh, that's. Why didn't that click in my head the first time I saw this?
All right, so we're going inside. This dungeon is, it's kind of like Halloween themed, so it's
very spooky.
It's like your crypt. So you're really you're going downstairs into the basement, and they want you to feel like you're trapped. So
we're gonna do things a bit out of order here, though.
Right.
So there's a lot of eyeball puzzles in this area. Normally you're supposed to do them in a very specific order, but Purple is actually going to do them a bit out of order.
Warp candies, so we're good. So
yeah.
Like this ramp, now we're going down into the dungeon, and
it's
you got skulls and spikes.
Can't go back from this point,
and it's like you have to escape. Is almost
escape.
What it's like.
So those warp candies that we got earlier will actually let us warp out of the dungeon after picking up a key. So this is the eyeball puzzle that we were talking about right here.
Little physics-based puzzle there. So you're supposed to use this key to escape the dungeon, or to escape the basement, excuse me, and then you get another key later. But I got enough candy. I can just leave now, and it's just like we did in Golem Mine. I'm smuggling that key out, and I'm going to use it to get farther, like make progress earlier than you're supposed to. And even better, that means that the key I'm supposed to get later is still available. So we're actually going to pick that up going backwards.
We are using these keys for the wrong purpose.
Right.
It's sort of like a Zelda speedrun, where you're getting keys out of order and using them for things that you're definitely not supposed to use them for.
So this room is kind of scary. There's spikes everywhere. You have these really thin platforms. I'm just going to pick up this one up.
Oh, wait, you missed the one up.
I'll get it later.
Okay. We'll come back for it.
This eyeball puzzle is the same thing, except luckily this one bounces just high enough that we can get it inside the socket without actually pushing it around the room like you're supposed to.
And you see that Purple is trying to minimize his transformation time.
Right, because it's so long.
So anytime where he can't
There's
do a
that one up.
transformation, if there's like a little bit of downtime, he can start an animation or
So
start
look
a
at this.
transformation.
Ooh, you're real close to the spikes there.
That was really scary.
So I've been jinxed by saying this before. I got a lot of health.
Yeah, you do. Do you? 2 hearts doesn't seem like too much.
I'm gonna run into a couple of these spike traps. Not the main spikes because they'll kill you, but all these enemies I can just bump into. We're gonna pick up one more key before we get our transformation.
This puzzle looks pretty hard. The eyeball's really high up.
You knock all of them to the left every single time. It's all the same.
The puzzle never changes.
Right, and so like Jake was saying earlier, we start dancing while we're underneath there. We get our key. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, that just minimizes the transformation
Because
time.
it takes so long.
Takes so long. We have it good in later Shantae games where Shantae transforms.
I know. You just pick an option out of a menu.
Pick an option out of the menu, or in 7 Sirens, you just transform instantly.
Dang.
There's no menu at all.
We got a little mini boss coming up, and she has a lot of health. So I'm actually going to deploy the first of our fireballs.
Fun little thing about... okay, it was a different mini boss.
Yeah, 2 mini bosses.
2 mini bosses. We've got another mini boss.
This one's
right
even
up here.
weirder.
So you can see the mini boss has this sort of animation. You're supposed to hit her when the mask is glowing, but this is sort of like a little taunt at the start, where you can actually hit the boss during its little taunt.
I got 5 hits, which is pretty good. You can get up to 7 based on your timing, because you can see how fast they were cycling around. But at this point, we're into like the proper mini boss phase, and so luckily you can stand here, and Shantae's hair is just long enough to reach both of them. You can only have a certain number of sprites, like on any given horizontal line. So her hair's not that long in this game.
We're going to do another little cutscene skip right here with the Storm Puff.
Same deal.
Same deal. Start the Storm Puff, talk to the genie. Gonna die. Get the transformation. That completely skips that cutscene. And now that gives us the spider transformation.
Right.
And the spider transformation is supposed to let you...
Oh, hold on. This is scary. There we go. That
There we
was a little
go.
better.
Okay. The spider transformation lets you climb up certain walls and any of the webs that you see around the dungeon. But of course, that's really slow. So we're still going to be doing a lot of this as
the
Monkey.
Right, because it's so much faster.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a shortcut that Purple took right there. Normally, you're supposed to fall down from there, but instead, we're actually just going to go up that little area.
I hope that is going into the socket.
It looks kind of close.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So a lot of the
So this is the key that we were going to get earlier to escape with.
Yes.
And it's still there for later.
And now we're smuggling it out again.
Again.
Lots of key smuggling in this dungeon.
Right. And so the only reason we got the spider is for this last room right before the boss. And after, kind of a little scary, you're down there in the pit with the spikes. They kill you instantly. We do have kind of a clown boss. It's kind of fun. You drop him into a pit about 100 times.
So yeah, this is the only time where you actually need Spider in this dungeon.
Right.
We're not going to see Spider a whole ton throughout this run. Honestly, you'll see Spider a couple times, but.
And the spider walks so slow. I'm actually going to transform back just to run through this one little hallway because that's how slow you walk.
And he's going to have to transform back into the Spider again right here. This next boss, we've got the Simmer Stone. All the stones in the same have kind of goofy names.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have like the water stones, like the
dribble stone.
Dribble stone, and then the fire stones to the Simmer Stone, things like that.
Right,
We've got this guy that looks like a big old troll.
Oh my god, I don't want to be a monkey right now.
No, you definitely don't want to be a monkey right now. That was a mistake. But so this guy,
Let's try again. So he's going to stop on one of these trap doors, and the button is on the back wall. And we drop him into the pit.
And then whenever it pops back up, you can just, if you're lucky, you can just sort of do it again.
Right. So that one, I hit the button pretty early, so they're going to let me hit it again, and he's just going to go right back down.
We got to do this about 5 times. He's going to
Right.
go to the right this time. He might slow down a little bit. He's actually going pretty quick.
So we want him to look left. Unfortunately, he didn't, but the button came back up early enough. You just drop him in. There you go.
Pretty good RNG. Nicely done.
It's not been my best performance today, but
Hey, man, you're doing good.
we're doing. You know what?
We're doing it.
It's a challenge to make it through this game. If you're a Shantae fan and you're like, oh, well, I never played the first one because it was so hard to come by. It's tough. That's a hard game.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to learning this game eventually.
I'm not making it look easy. So this is Dungeon 3. It's all the way on the right. Dungeon 4 is all the way on the left of the entire world, not just of the screen.
But because we did that warp squid underflow glitch earlier, we can actually warp back to Oasis Town with that warp dance.
Right.
Which will allow us to skip all the backtracking and just head straight to the last dungeon.
And the warp dances are quite a bit longer, so I'm going to have to play some Dance Dance Revolution here real fast. Not as difficult as Dance Dance Revolution, at least. We're off. So now, you'll see some familiar faces. So here we are in the mud bog. It's not its own island anymore. These enemies that kind of snap up at you have a gigantic hitbox.
Yeah, they are quite tricky to get around.
So it's at this point in the speedrun where I'm willing to use my health just to get through the screen without having to worry about dodging them because they're really difficult to dodge. So I'm just going to take a couple hits here. The rest of the run is, I'm going to say, relatively simple in terms of where you need to take damage. So it doesn't quite matter the exact points where I do, just as long as I have the right amount of health when I get to the end. So
yeah, we got about one more death warp or death cutscene skip.
On purpose,
in
at
this
least.
Last dungeon. Yes, one last on purpose death. The rest.
The rest you can laugh at me for.
Yeah. Well, don't laugh at them.
Okay, let's see here. Really?
Oh.
Okay.
As long as you don't die right here.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. Okay. Whew. Made it through. So
Man, this game's been
amount of
not
health,
been
right?
nice to me today. Yes,
No.
I am good with this amount of health. There's a chance I could just get skewered right here anyway. There we go.
That jump's a little
Nice
scary.
and easy, yeah.
You're normally supposed to use spider to climb up the wall there, but with monkey you can still make it.
Yeah,
So-
we hate the spider.
We do not like spider in this place. So now we're gonna go to Bandit Town, and we got someone else to talk to. We're gonna go to this bar, and we've got this town has its own guardian genie as
Yeah.
well, right?
And that's a full genie too, not just a half. So
Yeah,
we're in luck that they have someone who can open the dungeon.
twice as good.
Because Shantae is out of friends. She hasn't made friends with everyone yet. That's in the later games.
Nope.
You know, I think I will actually take a little dip in the pool again.
Just
I'm
to be safe?
Yeah, I don't want to die more than I already have.
Man, the pool's really far away.
The town's a circle. I went the wrong way around.
Oh.
I don't go to this. I don't go to this ever.
I'm learning new things about this game.
Right. So look how close it was to the start.
Oh. You tell me you could have gone left the entire time.
Yeah, you gotta take the scenic route. I feel like we haven't been in a town for any longer than like 5 seconds.
Now we're going to be making our way back through this mountain area. Those bird sword guys look kind of scary, but their hitboxes actually aren't active until they land on the ground.
However, they are gigantic. So when they do land, you want to be well and clear out of the way. And unfortunately, the spider is not always fast enough. Luckily, we have a little jump that we can do to get out of the way there. But as soon as I get up that wall, we're done with the spider. We don't want
it anymore. No more spider.
So back to monkey form. And got stuck on the wall there, so we will have to jump over him. So it feels like it was just a moment ago we were like halfway through the game, and now we're coming up on the last dungeon here, so that's kind of sad.
Last dungeon, second to last dungeon, sort of. It's kind of like Pirate's Curse, where the last area is like not really that long. But this is the last like main dungeon in the game.
These guys that I'm jumping over are actually werewolves, so depending on if it's daytime or nighttime, they will chase you down.
They're werewolves?
Yes, they will chase you down more or less aggressively. All right, we're here.
There we go. We've got our nice guardian genie
friend,
right here.
right.
Genie friend, brand new genie friend. She's not going to tell us her name, but that's okay. She's going to smack open this dungeon for us. How nice of her. Really, really nice.
It's a piece of cake. So right off the bat in this last dungeon, you will notice that there's got these enemies encased in ice. And we know from earlier, the golem dies in one hit to the elephant. So we're going to try to get the golem every single time. It's not random, but you have to do some timing. And if you want to be optimal, you try to break it as early as possible. So sometimes you get someone else, but we want the elephant.
Yeah, it looks really quick whenever you kill them.
Right. And then you'll also notice that this dungeon is quite a bit blockier. I mean, like, in terms of the graphical style. So a lot of the platforms are like the full 16 by 16 pixel blocks instead of the 8 by 8 design that we kind of had going in some of the previous dungeons. And it's a design choice. It turns out they were just running out of time to make the game. We also had these puzzles. Got kind of lucky there. Only had to hit them once. There's a lookup table that the game uses to pick what symbols appear on there. So you can't actually get every single combination. So your odds that you get a fast pattern like that are they're pretty good. So it wasn't crazy lucky that I got that. But
still lucky nonetheless.
Right. And I actually have to pause my discussion here. We have these little whirlpools. You maintain your vertical speed when you exit them. So if I jump in from below, I hit the wall and I just pop up in the air like it was magic.
I don't think that's how you're supposed to get up there normally.
That is not how you're supposed to get up there.
But it just sort of works out that way. And we're going to abuse that trick later in the dungeon as well.
Right.
Got another golem ice block that we're going to be breaking. Kill it instantly. Nicely done.
We'll have a couple of those. They drop $5 every time, which is kind of a problem because I had to get all that money early in the run, and you get so much money while you're in here.
Yeah, we don't need money anymore.
I know.
We are done with money.
All right, we're on the way back. I have to give a shout out. My brother is in the audience. I'm going to grab this one up just in case. My brother's in the audience, and one time I was visiting, and I was doing this. I was practicing my speed run, and he said, "Hey, that bowling ball moves kind of slow. I think you can jump over it." Turns out you can. So, thank you. My brother taught me a speedrun strat for a game he has never played before. Oh, I don't want to jump there. Okay, but back to the blockiness thing. They were running out of time to make the game, so they had to kind of switch to the larger blocks so they could make the dungeon faster. And it turns out that actually helps us because Shantae is short enough that you can fit underneath the block, but when you stand up, you're too tall and you'll clip your head in the ceiling.
Yeah.
So we'll actually use that to do a pretty cool clip later on.
Yeah. I'll explain that whenever we
Yeah.
actually get there.
But
We're coming up on it pretty soon.
We have our last transformation to get first.
Yeah. The last transformation we have is the Harpy. And the Harpy is, it's a transformation that lets you fly everywhere. Sounds kind of busted.
Right.
Problem is, Harpy is sort of finicky, I guess.
If you've ever played the arcade game Joust, the Harpy controls very similarly to Joust. So you're quite slippery on the horizontal axis. And I actually need to take one more hit here. So you'll get to see the golem live for longer than 2 frames this time.
There we go. Goodbye, golem friend.
And you use the A button to flap your wings and you go up. So it's really bouncy, really slippery. And to make matters worse, sometimes the game drops your A button input and you just fall down to your death.
Unfortunately, this is translated across multiple Shantae games as well. Whenever we get to Half Genie here, I'll also explain that the Harpy does the exact same thing.
The Harpy is quite scary in several Shantae games.
Yes. But now we've got our next glitch coming up.
Right
here. So what Purple is going to do is he's going to transform into Monkey right here.
Well, I got to get over there first.
You got to get over there first. You can see him mashing really, really hard. How are they getting holds out of height?
I know. So we got some spikes on the wall. It's kind of scary, especially when you're moving really slippery. So you'll see in a couple rooms coming up, I have to like slalom while I'm going up. And it's quite slippery. So look, you got to turn around. Ugh.
That is a lot harder than it looks.
So yeah, so now I will be turning into the monkey. You're
Yep.
right.
All right, so after getting the ski, he's going to transform into monkey. He's going to go into this little crevice that is in the next room, sort of below.
Right.
And when he untransforms back into Shantae, it's actually going to clip her into the
Yeah,
wall
I'm
a little
too
bit.
tall.
He's too tall, so it's going to clip her into the wall a little bit.
And every time I turn around, I clip slightly farther into the wall. But the problem is you can only turn around once before you're just facing that direction.
But if you transform into
Our
Shantae,
boy the spider spawns in facing the wrong way. So we can turn around over and over and over again and just go slightly farther into the wall every time.
and we're going to keep doing this until we clip out of bounds fully. Should be one more
Yeah,
right
this is
here.
the last one.
And now we're going to transform into Harpy
Right.
to fly to the end of the dungeon. And this is done completely blind. If Purple goes out of the way or it goes too far out of the way of the dungeon, his game will actually crash. So this is a lot scarier than it looks.
Oh, see that up there? You don't want to touch that.
That is danger zone.
And I want to keep going.
Almost there. So we're actually flying all the way to the very end of the dungeon right over here.
And so the hard part is now clipping back in.
Yeah.
Which, come on, let me back in there.
There we go. Okay. So he's gonna transform back into monkey, which will let him go to the left side of this little platform right here.
Shantae can crawl underneath that, but you can't dance while you're crawling. So unfortunately, I have to go monkey for 2 seconds just to get back over there, and we're back in.
And so it's gonna look a little weird. Shantae's color palette doesn't look quite right as a result of doing that.
It doesn't do anything, but we
anything.
made it. So, okay. So this is our fourth boss, and if you thought the Harpy form was like Joust before, it's even more like Joust now. So we actually have to fight someone like it's Joust. You have to bounce on his head a couple times.
Before you're actually able to hit him.
Right.
And you're gonna try to see. Ideally, Purple's not gonna have to press the Harpy button much after landing on top of this boss right here.
Right. You just want to be pogoing.
Yeah, you just
Over
want to
and over
pogo
again.
off a little bit.
Unfortunately, he's too high up, so I'm going to let him come down a little bit. There we go.
There he
So
goes.
every adjustment I have to do, you have to flap your wings, and then it's wasted time. So I'm really trying to get very little horizontal speed so that I can just pogo over and over again. But I'm probably going to have to make a couple of adjustments in between hits here. We'll let him come down one more time. He didn't want to do it. Now I'm way up at the ceiling. There we go. So we have to do one more round of this. And so we're fighting the dragon right now, but after that he goes to phase 2 where you have to fight the little kid on top.
Yep. Phase 2 is really, really scary phase.
Oh yeah, no, this phase 2 is awful.
Incredibly terrifying.
So 4 hits against the dragon. And then here's the kid.
All right, and
Got him.
there we go. Nicely done.
Thank you. So we have all the stone. We got all of the magical relics before Risky Boots could get her hands on it. So job done. World is
Job
saved.
done.
We're all good.
World is good. Everything is fine and dandy, except actually, that wasn't the Guardian Genie of Bandit Town. That was actually Risky Boots.
No. So she's going to steal all of our stones.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever played this game, I didn't know. I got pranked. It was really obvious, and I did not know.
The color palette, of course, is Risky Boots' color palette. So,
Right.
you know,
Like,
most
there's only
most
so many
people should be
colors on the screen at once. So, thankfully, Risky's trap doesn't last for very long. Shantae's just going to break out free immediately. And she says, I have to go see Mimic in Scuttletown.
Yep.
Well, Mimic does not know what to do. That's a lie. We're going to go to Oasis Town instead.
Mimic's just going to be like, oh, I don't actually know what to do.
Yeah, he tells you to, and I quote, go fly around in the sky.
Fly around in the sky somewhere. That could mean anywhere,
Anywhere.
right? But Purple knows exactly where to
Yes.
go. He's going to turn into Harpy right over here, and he's just going to fly
I'm just going
upright.
to go fly around in the sky somewhere.
Fly around in the sky. And he's actually going to come across this telescope. I forgot what the name of this telescope
Right,
is
it's called the Spy Scope.
Spy Scope.
It's not really present anywhere else in the lore of this game. It's just here.
It's just sort of here, and it so conveniently lets you go anywhere that you're envisioning in your head, basically, right?
Right.
So you'll envision something in your head, you look through it, and then
That's where it takes you.
it's where it takes you.
So, unfortunately, Risky Boots has the Water Stone. So she has infinite water, and she has the Fire Stone, so she has infinite fire. So that's infinite steam power.
That's a lot of steam power.
Right, so we're going to have to do this last little gauntlet on Risky's Island, where she has just kitted out everyone with all these, steam-powered armor, extra weapons. They're throwing the kitchen sink at you in this last little section. I think the devs were having fun when they made these enemies.
With the power of wishful thinking, we're just going to warp straight there. Here we are. We're on Risky's Island.
All right, we made it.
We made it.
That was a tough trick. So we have Tinkerbats, of course. They're going to throw torches. The torches lag your game really bad. So I'm actually going to get hit with one so that it doesn't spawn the fire.
And then we've also got we've got these pillars coming up. These Tinkerbats are going to climb up. All we got to do is transform into elephant, and then we can smack the pillar down.
So this is kind of like, you know, your Ganon's castle where you have all the trials. You have to use all the transformations. So we have the elephant to knock down the pillar. We have some really small tubes coming up where you can only fit through in monkey form.
Yep.
And then we have a section where there's spikes everywhere, and you have to crawl on the background using the spider.
But we're not actually going to do that.
Spider sucks.
Spider is slow, sucks. So instead, we're going to transform into Harpy. Well, actually, first we're going to play a little bit of a pinball minigame.
Right.
Anyone who likes the pinball. There's 9 different directions that this can be shot. It's consistent, so as long as you shoot the same angles every time, you'll make it to the top.
The animation of the cannon rotating has a lot of frames, but the actual angles that you can shoot at, there's not that many.
There's like, what, 9 angles
Yes.
that you can shoot at?
So, okay, here we go. So we're going through the Harpy, and if you remember what I said earlier, this game drops your inputs sometimes. So we're going to fly through a bunch of spikes everywhere, and there's a chance that my A button press just doesn't work, and I go straight down to the bottom. So I'm going to, like, triple tap the A button every single time.
Oh, there was a drop input right there. Oh, my gosh.
I have learned.
Woo, okay.
I used to double tap the A button, and then it dropped both of them. So now I triple tap the A button.
Good job making it through that.
All right, one more cannon. It's one flick to the left.
Man, I love pinball.
And there's a bunch of pinballs here. Oh, come on.
Nicely done.
All right. A couple more jumps here, and we're almost at the end.
Now we're coming up on our final boss of the game.
Right.
So Risky's taken that steam engine and is using it to power her tank. This tank is powered by those 4 stones as well.
Right. So you can think of it like the final boss. It's not much of a boss. We're going to infiltrate the tank and destroy it from the inside.
Yeah. And this is where those fireballs are going to come into handy. A lot of the optimization that's from this boss fight, there's also a lot of cutscenes in this boss fight. So using the fireballs right before the cutscene starts will save quite a bit of time for that spin up. And you can use those fireballs just the right amount of time to...
very tight.
To break those gears.
So we have some small passageways that we have to fit through. So we have to be in monkey form, but I can't attack in monkey form. So that's what Jake is saying. I have to use the fireballs. So we're going to go in from the top, and then I'm going to get as close to the edge as I can so that we have as much time as possible with the fireball active. So using the fireballs is almost like our way to attack while we're in monkey form.
Yep.
So let's see how we do. Nice lag from the Game Boy.
Because we do need to transform into monkey to get through that area. So having the fireball out early is very, very nice.
And unfortunately, you cannot damage the gears while you're on the ground. So it's going to look really silly. I'm just standing here with a fireball that's going right through it. So once we get in the air, uh-oh.
There we go.
All right. Just in time. So unfortunately, I am going to have to switch up the route a little bit here because if you have just enough time to kill both of those before the fireball runs out. We're going to kill this one instead.
Okay.
And should not have turned back. Yeah, you know what? We'll find out. Uh-oh.
It's okay.
This has been an ad-libbed run really the whole time, huh?
It's been a fun ad-libbed run, though.
Not enough time. So depending on which ones you can kill on the cycle and which ones you can't, you do this tank a little bit differently every single time. And unfortunately, I was trying to do the optimal route, and wasn't quite good enough. I got it at the beginning, but I made it all the way up here. That was pretty nice.
And then we just got these last 2 stones.
All right. And then we destroy the steam engine itself is finally exposed. So this one is really, you don't have barely enough time at all. So I kind of expected not to do this one. One more fireball and we're done. All right. So now we have to fight Risky Boots herself after we've destroyed her tank.
The way Risky Boots works is she's actually pretty simple.
Right.
All things considered.
We used to think it was RNG.
But it's actually not RNG.
It's not RNG. It's based on how far away you are when you damage her. So there's about a 5-pixel window. It's not very big, where you can hit her without her doing an attack because she's completely invincible during her attacks. So if you're too close, she'll do the attack, and if you're too far away and you miss, it's RNG if she doesn't attack. So that part is RNG, but luckily I am really good at this game, so I know it. I don't know if you believe me anymore, but I am going to use a fireball. We used to buy a second pack of fireballs because it lets us attack from really, really far away. So we thought it helped your RNG, but it turns out you're just far away. So I was too close there.
She's going to do an attack right here.
Do an attack. So some time lost. So we're really just running around here. Eventually, the more damage you do to her, the higher the odds that she does do the attack if you miss. So kind of scary. And then the hat comes off at the end. This is... We're getting close to, not time, but we're getting close to the end of the game.
Yeah,
so
we've
just
got
a couple
one more section after
here.
this.
Right. So we've defeated Risky Boots with this hit, I think.
Oh, no, she's going to do one more attack.
Here, one more for the road.
Oh, another attack.
We'll use a fireball for the last one.
There we go.
Oh, it was not the last one. I can't count.
There's the last hit. Okay, sweet. Nicely done, Matt.
Woo. Okay, so we've defeated Risky. Her island's exploding now. The Shantae series loves explosions. You'll see that in the next game.
They love explosions.
And Jake, would you like to finish off the run for me, please?
I've never played this game. Wait. Oh.
No, it's okay. You're going to hold right here.
Okay.
And then keep holding right here.
Okay.
You need to watch out for those fireballs. Just keep holding right here, though.
I'm looking.
You're doing great.
Doing excellent. Sweet.
The fireballs never show up on the right half of the screen. So
this game's
it's a little
easy.
anticlimactic. Time is coming up soon when you hear the little jingle at the end. When we get out at the top of the volcano. And coming in with a pretty embarrassing 110.
What?
Yeah,
it's better than your first PB. Time.
Still underestimate.
Still underestimate. That's what matters.
So, yeah, it's a really cute game. When I played this game for the first time when there was a lot of hype about Shantae for Smash Bros. And I never played one before, so I figured I'm going to start with the first one. Saw it was on Game Boy Color. I got a little disappointed, but for a Game Boy Color game, it's got quite an impressive scale. It's got really good music. The graphics are really good, really colorful, really detailed. So,
For its time.
Right. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I played through it for the first time. So it was. I had a lot of fun playing it. I had even more fun learning the speedrun. And so if you decide to pick a copy up, it's hard to get it on an original cartridge, but you can recently. You can get it on the Switch, I think.
You can get it on Switch. I believe you can also get it on PlayStation.
Right. So it's a cute little game. Not a lot of people played it, so it's something new. And something I like about the speedrun is that we actually get to see most of the game. We don't just skip right to the end. So.
Unfortunately, well, we're going to see most of the next game as well.
Right.
But we've got one more game coming up.
Yeah. So Shantae fans, don't go anywhere. I'm skipping through to the credits here, but if we need to get set up for the next one, we're done. So thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you. Good job, Purple.
That was stressful, but we made it.
Good improv on your part.
Thank you. I've never picked up more one-ups in a speedrun in my life. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone.
Stay tuned for Half Genie Hero.
Yeah, stay tuned. There's more of us on the couch coming up.
I know. I'm sure you're tired of us at this point, but you got to stick around with us for another
one more game.
Another hour and a half or so.
Maybe next marathon we got to do all 6 of them.
Oh gosh. How long would that Shantae block be? That would be like.
Yeah. If you thought the Shantae block was wrong, this was long this time.